ng Easter Sunday, pero po hindi tungkol doon ang ating pag-uusapan sa ating Sunday School. We will still continue with our discussion on narrative and theological perspective ng Old Testament. Tama ba tong mic? Tama to? Hindi. Hindi, dalawa kasi. Yung isa? Mas okay yata. Yeah, there you are. Thank you very much. Shall we pray, dear Heavenly Father? Kami po ay humihingi ng tawad sa aming mga kasalanan na nagawa sa nakaraang linggo. Kami po, dear Lord, ay humihingi ng patnubay na kami po ay iyong gabayan sa aming pag-aaral sa umagang ito tungkol po sa buhay ni Joseph at ng kanyang mga kapatid. Sana po mayroon kaming matutuhan dito at yung makukuha naming aral ay magamit namin sa aming pang-araw-araw buhay Kristiyano. Ito po ay aming hiling sa pangalan ni Jesus na aming tagapagligtas. Amen. Shall we open our Bibles to Genesis chapter 37? We will skip chapter 38. We will discuss chapter 38 after we discuss chapter 50 ng Genesis. Chapter 38 kasi is about Judah and Tamar and Onan, and hindi siya nag-fit sa narrative na gusto kong ilabas, i-discuss sa ngayon. What I would like to focus on is yung first part ng journey, parang gusto niya. Dun sa adventures, hindi rin, parang ginusto niya. Doon po sa buhay ni Joseph hanggang po sa nakaabot siya sa the highest of power in Egypt, only next to Pharaoh. So in chapter 27, basahin po natin because I want to focus on a single verse in verse number 3 and then its effect in verse number 4. As we read, and Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. Bakit sinabing 37, chapter 37. Bakit sinabing Bakit? Verse 1, chapter 37, verse 1. And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. So sinasabi dito na si Jacob is a stranger in the land of Canaan because saan siya nag-spend ng most of his adult life? In Padan. Doon siya nag-serve kay Laban. And these are the generations of Jacob. This should be a separate verse in itself. Kasi heading ito ng tungkol sa generations na ni Jacob. It should not be within one verse. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's concubines. Remember, si Zilpah at si Bilhah ay yung mga maid servants ni Rachel at ni Leah. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. So, may yung mga ibang kapatid ni Joseph ay may mga ginagawang mali at sinumbong niya ito kay Joseph. Now in verse number 3, now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. Now let's focus kung bakit big deal itong many colors. In ancient history, it's very difficult to get colors. Though you would remember, there was a wealthy woman na mention ni Paul, and her job was, she was a seller of purple. Now, colors were very, very expensive commodities in the ancient Near East. Hindi po basta-basta na makakuha ka ng colors. So this was probably a fortune, itong coat of many colors na ito. And it was an outward display ng inward favoritism ni Jacob papunta kay Joseph. And this is a big deal. Dahil ang effect niya, mababasa natin sa number 4. Verse number 4, and when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, ano ang effect? They hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. So makikita po natin dito na meron talagang error dito po sa family ni Abraham. And it even passes down to the time of Jacob. Next slide, please. So what we see here is a familial and a familiar error. Ang error dito po is favoritism. Now, if you were Jacob, bakit si Joseph ang favorite mo? Dahil hindi bunso si Joseph. Ang bunso ay si Benjamin. Sa mga lalaki at least. Kasi kung may pinanganak na babae, hindi mention. So sa mga lalaki, ang bunso si Benjamin, pero bakit hindi siya ang favorite? Is it possibly because pinanganak si Benjamin, yun din ang kinamatay ni Rachel? Pero ang sabi sa Bible is that he was the son of his old age. But one of the reasons kung bakit niya mahal na mahal si Joseph more than all his brethren is that si Joseph ang firstborn ni Rachel. And we have to remember, as we have discussed in previous Sundays, it was a struggle for Rachel na mag-conceive to such point na nagdala pa siya ng concubine, pinigay niya kay Jacob as a surrogate mother para magkaroon siya ng anak through the maid servant. So si Joseph ang first naturally conceived na anak ni Jacob at ni Rachel, na si Rachel ang first love and true love ni Jacob. But was it justification na maging favorite niya si Joseph? And the answer is no. Because we see here that this error of favoritism has been the error of Abraham, has been the error of Isaac, and ngayon, error na rin siya ni Jacob. Next slide. So the lesson here is, sin observed is sin replicated. Again, as we have discussed, madali magsabi na wag mong gawin, pero pag ginagawa mo, wala din yung effect. Halimbawa, ikaw ay nagsisigarilyo, wawarningan mo yung mga anak nyo, wag nyo akong tularan. Duh. Would anyone heed your command? Of course not. Kasi kung ano yung na-observe, most likely, yun ang magagaya kaysa doon sa sinasabi. Now, we also see here na hindi nakakatulong si Joseph sa kanyang sitwasyon. Because we read in verse number 5. Basahin natin. And Joseph dreamed a dream. Pang lay measurables yung tono na nasa utak ko. He dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood round about, and made obeisance to my sheaf. And his brethren said unto him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us, or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. And hindi yun yung last dream. Na naginip ulit siya. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him, and saith unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother, buhay pa si Rachel, and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth? And his brethren envied him. But his father observed the saying. Okay, so we come now here to a series of dreams. Next slide, please. Na kung saan mas kinagalit ito ng mga kapatid ni Joseph. So, yun lang ang pinaka nahanap kong medyo accurate na illustration. Sino sa inyo ang tumutulong sa pag-aani or may experience sa pag-aani sa palayan? Wala. Yeah, very good. Ang pag-aani talaga ang hindi ako pinapayagan ng magulang ko kasi tumutulong naman ako sa pag-aararo. Tulong, distraction kay lolo, sumasakay ako sa kalabaw, you know. Tapos sa paghilamon, madali lang kasi yun, pagtanggal ng kuhol berries, yung mga berries ng kuhol yan. Yan yung tumulong ko, pero hindi ako pinapayagan mag-ani because ang pag-ani ang pinaka-dangerous sa lahat dahil napakatalim ng panggapas. Kasi nasugatan na ako one time, hindi na kami pinaulit. So, ang role na lang namin is yung mga pinagbabawal. Kung tutuusin, bawal ito sa nag-aani. Bawal na yung may-ari o yung pamilya niya sasama doon sa mga taga-punpon. Ano yung taga-punpon? Yung pag nagtitreasure, ikaw yung nag-aabang nung tumatapon ng mga grains. Supposedly, bawal doon yung may-ari o yung mga anak niya para mag-abang. Yun po ang role ko, yung illegal. Hindi. Bawal yon. And we have, actually, pagdating natin sa discussion kay Ruth at kay Boaz, ma-observe natin yun na kung bakit yon pinagbabawal. And we will see, pagdating sa Leviticus, kung bakit yon pinagbabawal. But for now, ang tingnan natin is ganyan po yung panaginip ni Joseph. So ang nangyayari kasi pag nag-aani ka, yung mga grains, pinagkukumpol-kumpol at pinapatayo yan. Sa kanila kasi wheat or barley for that matter. Sa atin kasi rice. Ang kinukuha natin yung stock na kung saan may bunga. Sila kinukuha nila yung buong tanim at kinukumpol nila because if we will remember, ang threshing nila hindi automatic. Ang threshing nila ay tinatali sa oxen para ang gigiling is yung bato at iikot yung baka. Sa atin, hindi. Sa atin, either binabayo or may automatic tayong makina na thresher. So what is being pictured out here is that yung substance ng mga kapatid ni Joseph will bow down to the substance ni Joseph. And they understood immediately what it meant. Hindi kailangan ng interpretation, hindi kailangan ng matalinhaga na divination or kung ano pa man. The meaning was quite obvious. Kaya nga, nirebuke siya ng kanyang mga kapatid at nirebuke siya ng kanyang tatay. Because they immediately knew what it meant. And especially Jacob. Because if we will remember, si Jacob ay nagkaroon din ng mga panaginip at nagkaroon din siya ng mga visions. So Jacob understood kung ano ang ibig sabihin ng mga panaginip. That these dreams were God's means to communicate Himself doon sa kanyang mga chosen people. But baka natatakot si Jacob na kapag nagpara-rebook pa si Joseph tungkol sa mga panaginip niya, mas magalit yung kanyang mga kapatid. Okay, next slide. So we come now kung doon sa question kung tama ba or mali ba si Joseph sa pag-share ng kanyang dreams. Some say na it was very arrogant of him to do so. Kasi alam niya na yung ibig sabihin nun, shinare niya pa. Some say na walang prudence dito si Joseph kasi alam niya nang galit sa kanya dahil siya yung favorite. Sinabi niya pa talaga yon. Pero remember na si Joseph wala pong control sa kung ano yung content nung kanyang panaginip. He had no control over it and he did not even interpret it when he relayed kung ano yung laman ng kanyang panaginip. He was stating a matter of fact. This is what I dreamed about. At ang nag-interpret ay hindi siya, kundi ang kanyang ama, ang kanyang mga kapatid. So, whether or not mali siya doon, parang the biblical text does not suggest na meron siyang arrogance or meron siyang ill intent or motive sa pag-share ng kanyang panaginip because he stated it as a matter of fact. And we also have the power of hindsight because we can read the chapters that happened after. We will see that God worked in the life of Joseph through dreams. At ito yung manner kung paano nag-work ang providence ng Panginoon sa buhay ni Joseph. Okay, so next slide. Ngayon, trinador si Joseph ng kanyang mga kapatid. So, ang nangyari is malayo sila. Presumably, days ang pagitan ni Jacob at ng mga anak niyang iba. So, inutusan niya si Joseph na puntahan at tingnan kung ano na yung mga nangyayari doon sa field. And you will see here kung bakit galit na galit yung mga kapatid ni Joseph sa kanya. Kasi siya yung reporter ng kanilang mga pagkakamali pabalik kay Jacob. Because in an earlier verse, yun yung description kung ano ang ginagawa ni Joseph. Kung ano yung makikita niyang mali, i-report niya pabalik kay Jacob or kay Israel. You would understand why the brothers would hate him. Is the hatred justified? Of course not. Pero makikita natin dito na isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit galit yung mga kapatid ni Joseph sa kanya ay mismong dahil sa role na binigay sa kanya ni Jacob. So in a sense, all of these things that happened is attributable pabalik po kay Jacob. So ang nangyari po dito, mababasa natin sa buong 37, na nakita nila sa malayo pa lang, nakaparating na si Joseph. At nagplot sila together. In verse 20, come now, therefore, and let us slay him and cast him into some pit. And we will say, some evil beast hath devoured him, and we shall see what... Ito yon. What will become... Okay na. Sorry na. Po? Electric fan. Electric fan. Ganyan po talaga. Summer na. Sa albay na pantropiko. And in 21, si Reuben, if you would remember, ay ang panganay. Reuben was the eldest, but at this point, ay wala na siyang birthright because he slept with his father's concubine, and because of that, nawalan siya ng birthright. Pero may redeeming quality si Reuben. Ano yun? 21, and he delivered him out of their hands and said, let us not kill him. So yung panganay, yun yung may sense. Huwag nating patayin. And Reuben said unto them, shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands to deliver him to his father again. So ang gusto nilang mangyari is, iwan for dead, kunyari si Joseph, kasi hindi niya kayang i-overpower ang kanyang mga kapatid at this time. Tapos pag alis nila, kukunin niya si Joseph at ibabalik doon sa tatay nila. But nagtagumpay ba si Reuben sa kanyang pagliligtas kay Joseph? Hindi po. So ano nangyari? Tinanggal yung strip with many colors, and they cast him into a pit, at wala pong tubig yung pit because it was empty. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes, and behold, dito magkakaroon ng konting confusion na i-clarify natin mamaya. A company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels bearing spices and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren, what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Sabi ni Judah. Remember, at this time, si Judah na ang tagapagmana. Kasi disqualified na si Reuben, disqualified na rin si Simeon at si Levi. Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. Wow, napaka-righteous. Huwag nating patayin kasi kapatid natin siya. Ibenta na lang natin siya. And his brethren were content. Then there passed by, okay ha, ang nakita nila, Ishmaelites. Pero yung dumaan ay, then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph into Egypt. So ang nangyari daw, yung Midianites, binenta siya sa mga Ishmaelites. And Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. Hindi niya pinaupahan. Pinunit niya. Yun pang ibig sabihin ng rent. That's King James for you. And he returned unto his brethren and said, the child is not, and where shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of the goats and dipped the coat in blood. So yun po ang nangyari. Verse 36, tandaan na, sa verse 28, kinuha siya ng mga Midianites, binenta siya sa mga Ishmaelites. Pagdating sa 36, and the Midianites sold him to Egypt unto Potiphar. What is happening here? Sino talaga ang nagbenta? Sino ang nabentahan? Na-buyback ba si Joseph? Ganun ba ang nangyari dito? Ano po ang nangyari? Okay, so clarification. Tingnan natin na Midianites ang na-mention, but the sale ay nangyari papunta sa mga Ishmaelites. Kung makikita natin dito, next slide please. Kung makikita natin, may confusing kasi sino yung mga yan? Okay. So, one possible explanation is that interchangeable po ang term na Midianites at Ishmaelites. Remember, these tribes are both descended from Abraham. Yung mga Midianites via Keturah, yung asawa ni Abraham after mamatay ni Sarah, at yung mga Ishmaelites naman ay via Hagar, yung concubine na maid servant ni Sarah. Okay, so kung titignan natin dito, most likely sila ay na-interchange. Another explanation is that clarify kung sino talaga ang nagbenta at ang mga nakakuha talaga sa kanya ay mga Midianites, tapos binenta siya sa mga Ishmaelites. In verse 39, verse 1, makikita natin na clarify na si Joseph talaga ay binili galing sa mga Ishmaelites, but it was the Midianites which sold him. So, posible na may train of slavery na nangyari dito ng pagbibenta kay Joseph. Whatever it is, the point is, na-accomplish yung purpose ng Panginoon na si Joseph via the Ishmaelites / the Midianites or whoever sold him to Potiphar was used by God to accomplish His purpose na si Joseph would be where he should be. Na kung saan nararapat mapunta si Joseph, napunta siya doon using evil actors. Now, let me explain that concept. In discussions in history, may tinatawag po tayong mga actors in good faith, tapos may tinatawag tayong mga evil actors or evil agents. Yung actors in good faith, yun yung mga ginagawa nila sa tingin nila tama, pero mali pala. Meron din tayong tinatawag ng mga evil agents na ang ginagawa talaga nila ay mali at alam nila na mali yung ginagawa nila, pero kailangan nilang gawin. So, there are many ways by which you can see na yung evil actors dito ay yung mga kapatid ni Joseph. Evil actors din po dito yung mga nagbenta kay Joseph papunta kay Potiphar. Because slavery is evil. It does not mean na dinidescribe ang Bible ang slavery means na justified ang slavery. It doesn't mean that slavery is regulated in Leviticus na ibig sabihin nun, slavery is justified. It was only that God was accommodating at that point in time kung ano yung common practice para po magkaroon ng civil order. Later, we will see that Joseph played a very big role kung bakit naging slaves ang mga Israelites sa panahon ng Exodus. We will meet our heroes. Now, isa sa mga sad things that you will encounter as you grow old, I can now say I'm old, I'm 34, is that when you meet your heroes, you will be disappointed. Growing up, may mga ina-idolize tayo yung mga tao, we look up to them, we consider them as heroes, then we meet our heroes, and we will be richly disappointed. This is what will happen when we encounter Joseph at kung ano ang role niya, kung bakit naging slaves ang mga Israelites sa panahon ng Exodus. Okay, but anyway, we will see first kung paano naging hero si Joseph. Okay, next slide please. Now, kung kayo si Joseph, ang problema, ganito. Ang problema kasi, pag, if you grew up in Sunday school, yung drawing kay Joseph, palagi siya nakasmile. This is the big problem with children's books na nagtuturo ng biblical lessons. Lahat ng character nakasmile. Inagawan si Joseph. Si Joseph, normally yung libro, si Joseph nakasmile kasi may bago siyang coat of many colors. So si Joseph nakaganyan, tapos may color yung damit niya, nakasmile siya. Tapos tinapon siya sa pit, si Joseph nakasmile pa rin. Nakatingin siya sa taas, nandun siya sa ilalim, madilim. Tapos yung drawing sa kanya, nakasmile pa rin because the portrayal is, he was the man of God. He's the hero in this story. He must be all smiles. Tapos nakulong siya, nakasmile pa rin. Like, the Bible is not all smiles. Can you imagine kayo si Joseph? Tinaydor kayo ng mga kapatid mo. Ito ang backdrop. You had an expectation na ikaw yung magiging greatest among your brethren kasi binigyan ka ng vision ni Lord. At alam mo na pag binigyan ka ng vision ni Lord, na ikaw yung gagamitin niya to accomplish His purpose. Yun yung expectation. Kasi nga, yun yung nangyari kay Jacob, yun yung nangyari kay Abraham, yun yung nangyari sa kanya kasi siya yung pinakitaan. Bakit walang pinakitaan sa other 10? Kasi hindi pa buhay si Benjamin. Bakit siya? So yun yung expectation niya. Tapos nandun siya ngayon sa pit. You think nakasmile si Joseph. Tapos kumakanta siya. Dahil nandun siya sa ilalim ng balon, ang kinakanta niya ay, "It is well." Joke. Nakasmile siya. Do you think? Nakasmile siya doon. "It is well with my soul." You think? Kung kayo si Joseph, di ba mapupuno ang puso nyo ng galit? Hindi ba mapupuno yung, di ba kung may Instagram lang nun or may Facebook nun si Joseph, nag-tweet siya, #betrayal. O nag-share siya ng quote na, kung sino pa yung mga malapit sa'yo, sila pa ang like normal people would. Di ba? I mean, there's just that human nature na kailangan mo maghanap ng simpatiya. Tapos, kung saan ka makahanap ng simpatiya, malamang sa Facebook yon. Tapos titingnan mo, ilan na yung nagsimpatiya sa akin? Aabangan mo, ilan na yung nag-heart ng shared post mo? Parang tanga lang, no? Pabalik-balik ka, ilan na yung nag-heart noon? Ito, nagsimpatiya to sa akin. Nakita to niya, pero hindi siya nag-react. Gary Toinks. Maybe, ganun din po ang nararamdaman ni Joseph. He was questioning, why is he there? Why is he there? Bakit ganun na lang po ang nangyari? Okay, so now, we will see that along the way, si Joseph ay patuloy na nagtiwala sa Panginoon. But it doesn't mean na nagtitiwala siya sa Panginoon ay never siyang nalungkot at nakasmile lang talaga siya all throughout the process. Isipin mo, hinulog ka sa balon, tinanggalan ka ng damit, assuming hubad ka. Ganun ka sa balon, ikaw lang. Even if you're trusting God, malamang naging malungkot ka. Trusting God does not mean we feel no pain. Trusting God doesn't mean we feel no grief. Trusting God means we feel all these natural things and yet hindi nawawala yung focus natin doon sa mga pangako ng Panginoon. We get that, right? Okay. So, hindi ko sinasabing mag-share post kayo na malungkot kayo, maghanap kayo ng simpatiya sa Facebook. Ang sinasabi ko lang, it's okay to feel these things, but it doesn't mean na hindi na tayo magtitiwala sa Panginoon. Okay. So, naibenta siya. So ngayon, ang nangyari, bless siya ng Panginoon even though he was in slavery. Di natin alam. Baka likas mo talagang makisig at pogi si Joseph. Kasi remember, yung nanay niya ay yung mas magandang kapatid. So malamang pogi si Joseph. Okay. So dito, makikita natin that he was being tempted daily ng asawa ng kanyang master. Okay. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of the Pharaoh, captain of the guard and Egyptian, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites. We had brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man. And he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. So, na-promote si Joseph. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him. And he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had put into his hand. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house, and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not aught he had save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well-favored. So here, a goodly person and well-favored may have just been their way of saying that Joseph was a good-looking person. And number 7, and it came to pass that after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, "Lie with me." Magsinungaling ka kasama ako. Hindi po. May seduction po na nangyayari dito. Remember, who was Joseph? A slave. Joseph was, kumbaga, kay Batman si Alfred. Kasi siya na yung mayordomo or something like that. Siya na yung in charge doon sa buong household ni Potiphar. Because asan si Potiphar? He was the guard, the captain of the guard of the Pharaoh. And dahil dito, malamang most of the time, wala din dito sa household niya si Potiphar because of his duties to the Pharaoh. So ang temptation talaga, papasok dito. Ito yung mga typical na LDR, tapos may katulong. Ito yung nangyari. This is exactly what happened. So baka ito yung ginaya na format ng Precious Hearts romance or kung ano pa man mga novels na binabasa ninyo. Okay. So here, day by day, number 10, this is important. And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her to lie by her or to be with her. And we also remember kung gaano kalakas itong temptation na ito. Malamang surrounded sila by servants. At itong master ng house, itong mistress ng house, ito maganda, malamang. Kasi, syempre, kung mayaman ka, mag-aasawa ka ng maganda para yung genetics nyo mag-i-improve. I mean, it's happening now. Bakit mga tisay ang mga politiko? Kasi yung mga nanay nila, tisay din, na pinakasalan ng mga politikong pangit dati hanggang sa nag-improve na yung mga lahi. I mean, Filipino politics for you. So ito pong nangyari dito. A beautiful woman, a very powerful woman at that, who had power over Joseph, siniseduce siya every day, but Joseph did not give in. To the point na, siguro na-offend, malamang na-offend, yung asawa ni Potiphar kay Joseph na hindi siya pinagbibigyan, anong ginawa? Pre-name up siya. Kinuha yung kanyang garment, present yung garment niya doon kay Potiphar, sinabi na ito, itrinay akong halayin ng taong ito ni Joseph. Sa galit, verse 19, and it came to pass when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spake unto him, saying, After this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. And Joseph's master took him and put him into prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was there in the prison. So makikita natin, there was some sort of mercy na pinakita si Potiphar kay Joseph because he was not thrown into a regular prison. He was thrown into the prison kung saan po tinatago ng hari yung mga political prisoners niya. Or yung mga personal prisoners niya. Yun po yung description dito. Which leads to a series of events kung paano naman na si Joseph galing sa kulungan will rise to a higher place. So remember, high, dahil pinakitaan siya ng vision ng Panginoon. Low, papunta doon sa well. High, papunta doon sa house ni Potiphar. Low, pabagsak doon sa prison ng hari. And then, yet, we will see another high. But the Lord was with Joseph, verse 21, and showed him mercy, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison. And whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it. The keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because the Lord was with him, and that which he did, the Lord made it to prosper. So, makikita mo ang favor ng Panginoon kay Joseph, na even in prison, he was well favored. Nagkaroon siya ng posisyon, in a sense. Although hindi formal, siya yung pinagkatiwalaan ng keeper ng prison. Okay. Next slide. Okay. So, the lesson that we can gain doon sa episode ni Joseph at ng asawa ni Potiphar is this. Integrity may lead to short-term troubles, but compromise will lead to a lifetime of problems. So, ang paggawa po ng mabuti ay lagi pong napapanish dito sa daigdig natin because we live in a fallen human, because of our fallen human nature. We live in a fallen world full of fallen creatures. Kaya po pag tinitry natin gumawa ng mabuti, nahihirapan tayo kasi mas mahirap gumawa ng mabuti kaysa gumawa ng mali. Madaling gumawa ng mali at maraming mag-a-agree sa'yo. This is the concept na ang pagtatanim ng herbs, ang pagtatanim ng mga namumungang halaman ay mas mahirap kaysa sa pagtubo ng damo. Ang damo, ang thistles, tumutubo kahit hindi mo araruhin. Kahit hindi mo itrim, kusa yan na lumalago. This is the curse that happened in the Garden of Eden. Ganito din po sa atin. Pag gumagawa ka ng tama, maraming pupuna sa'yo. Pag gumawa ka ng mali, as long as it favors everyone, wala pong mag-criticize sa'yo, i-hail ka pa as hero. Gaya niya ng mga katangahan na ginagawa natin sa ating mga politiko. Tingnan nyo. Mamimigay ng ayuda. Woo! Para lakpakan yan sa mga politiko. 10K sa'yo, 10K sa'yo, 10K sa'yo, 10K sa'yo, 10K sa'yo. Lahat may 10K. Madangog ka sa mga politiko. May 10K ka na. This is wrong. It's evil. This is vote buying. This is a diversion of public funds na ginagamit dapat sa public good pero pinamumudbud lang in the guise of ayuda pero vote buying naman talaga. And yet these politicians are re-elected time and again. Paulit-ulit. Kahit na mga kurakot yung mga yan, paulit-ulit naman silang nai-elect tapos pinapangalan pa sa kanilang ospital. Pagdating sa misa, sila yung laging nami-mention. Because people will praise you in doing wrong as long as it benefits them. Pero ang integrity po, kahit po yan, makaramdam tayo ng persecution pag ginagawa natin ang tama, ipagpatuloy lang po natin na yung kung ano yung character natin, yun talaga yung makita na meron tayong integrity. Even though in the face of persecution, it may lead to short-term troubles. Because pag nag-compromise ka, forever ka nang compromise. Alam ko masama ang tingin nyo sa akin dahil sa trabaho ko, normal yun. There are many times na may mga pinapagawa sa aking illegal ang ilan kong mga kliyente. It's very tempting na gawin yon because pwede kong i-justify na ginagawa ko lang naman kung anong trabaho ko. But know this, sa lahat ng mga transaksyon na illegal, alam ng mga kliyente ko na hindi ko yan gagawin. They know I will not do something illegal. Kaya hindi rin ako kasama sa pagbibilang ng pera. Very tempting na nandun ako sana. Baka may ma-misplace silang 2 million. Nakaka-tempt na may ma-misplace na lang na 2 million papunta sa aking bank account. Pero, it's a struggle because it's really tempting. When you're in the face of so much money na nandyan na sa harap mo, it's really tempting to forget that you're a Christian. Sana, nasasabi ko pa rin ito 3 years in the future na hindi ko yung ginawa. And pray for me because my job exposes me to things that you do not see, to dangers you do not often experience. It's very difficult. Yeah. Anyway, so much for me. Tungkol tayo kay Joseph. Next slide, please. Okay, so dito na-etch into history yung pagiging interpreter ni Joseph. Okay. So, bakit daw nakulong yung cupbearer at yung chief baker? Ito yung mga personal staff Pharaoh. Remember that these people are very well respected and they occupy very sensitive positions. Napakataas, kumbaga, ng kanilang security clearance. Because ang cupbearer is someone who would determine whether or not poisoned yung cup ng Pharaoh. Napakauso po noon ng violent takeover sa panahon ng ancient Near East history and all throughout ancient history. Nagkaroon na lang naman tayo ng civilized, peaceful transfer of power nung nagkaroon na tayo ng democracy. And it's still a struggle. Hindi pa lahat ng bansa nag-exercise ng true democracy. Napakahirap pa rin po. All throughout, violent takeovers po pag nagpapalit ng gobyerno. And the same is true pagdating kay Pharaoh. He held all the power in the world. Kumbaga, in their known world, in the Egyptian Empire. So kung gusto mong patayin si Pharaoh, you will have to go through the cupbearer and yung baker niya because these are the people who feed the king. Kung ikaw naman si Pharaoh, hindi ka naman makikikain kung kahit kani-kanino lang. Dahil, baka, mategi ka lang bigla pag nakikain ka. That was not the case. Kung ano yung dumadaan sa cupbearer at sa baker, yun yung mga kinakain ni Pharaoh. So these are very high positions sa escalon of power sa ancient Egypt. Okay, so the captain nung keeper ng prison, pinagkatiwala sila under Joseph's care. Tapos, napansin nila na mayroon silang mga dream. At tinanong ni Joseph, sabi ni Joseph, "Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams." Ang sinasabi dito, ang nire-recognize dito ni Joseph ay hindi siya ang nag-i-interpret, kundi ang Diyos ang nagbibigay ng interpretation. Okay. Isa-isay natin yung mga dreams of love gone by. The cupbearer's dream is this: a vine with 3 branches grows, buds, and produces grapes. The cupbearer squeezes them into Pharaoh's cup. Ang interpretation ni Joseph is this: 3 branches are 3 days. Within 3 days, i-restore ka ni Pharaoh sa iyong posisyon. Ang request ni Joseph, pag nandun ka na kay Pharaoh, pakikwento naman ako sa kanya so that I would be released. Naalala ba yon? Yes, but at a later time. Next slide. The baker's dream. Okay, yung baker naman, ito ang kanyang panaginip. 3 baskets are on his heads, but birds eat from atop the basket. So, baka maganda yon, mababalik din ako. But no. Ang interpretation, sabi ni Joseph, binigay sa kanya ng Panginoon, 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift your head off you, you will be hanged, and the birds will eat your flesh. Kaya ngayon, ayaw ko na managinip tungkol sa ibon. Mananaginip na ako tungkol sa grapes, pero hindi sa ibon. Anyway, next slide. 10 minutes. So ngayon, si Pharaoh ay nagkaroon ng series ng mga panaginip. In chapter 41 na tayo. It came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river. Ito na yung mga panaginip niya. So, ang first dream niya ay 7 fat cows devoured by 7 thin cows. Mga matatabang baka, nakita niya sa river, kinain ng mga payat na baka. Second dream, 7 healthy ears of grain swallowed by 7 thin blighted ears. When we talk about ears, hindi tenga, kundi ang corn po, ang tawag doon ay ears of corn. Just so you remember. Okay, or ears of wheat. So ngayon, hinanap. Walang maka-interpret. Sino makaka-interpret? Naalala ngayon nung cupbearer na tinulungan ni Joseph, na in-interpret niya yung dream ng cupbearer na, oo nga po pala, Pharaoh, may marunong mag-interpret ng dreams. So pinatawag si Joseph. So ngayon, in-interpret na yung dream. So, in 41 verse 16, remember kung sino ang recognize ni Joseph na nag-interpret. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, "It is not in me. God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace." And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, "In my dream, behold, I stood upon the bank of the river." I-enumerate naman ulit kung ano yung mga kanyang nakita. So, to cut the long story short, ang interpretation na binigay ng Panginoon kay Joseph is this: there will be 7 years of abundance, of much abundance, and this will be followed by 7 years of severe famine. Tayo po, hindi na nakaka-experience ng famine. Kasi meron na tayong tinatawag na global trade. Most of our rice are imported from China, from the USA, and from Vietnam in that particular order. Then Thailand. Sila noon, if the crops fail, wala silang mapupuntahan because there was no global trade to begin with. Pag hindi naging successful ang crop, famine kung famine. Tagutom po talaga. Kaya ang ginagawa ng mga tao ay nagmamigrate sa kung saan may mahanapan sila ng grain. And we will see that that is what happens with Jacob. Okay. In verse 28, 41 verse 28. This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh. What God is about to do, he showeth unto Pharaoh. Behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout the land of Egypt, and there shall arise after them 7 years of famine, and all plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall consume the land. And the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of that famine following, for it shall be very grievous. Okay. Wait lang po. Okay. So, in verse 33 to 36, makikita natin kung ano yung advice ni Joseph kay Pharaoh. Because Joseph now, kumbaga, nagde-develop na rin in wisdom. He was now about 30 years old. Now, Now therefore, let Pharaoh look. Tingnan nyo ang suggestion ni Joseph. Alam mo Pharaoh, kailangan mag-appoint ka ng isang tao na marunong, na wise, na mag-manage ng sitwasyon. Siguro habang kinakausap ni Joseph si Pharaoh, kailangan naman someone wise. Let Pharaoh do this and let him appoint officers over the land and take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years. So, sabi niya, mag-appoint ka ng tao and then let that person impose a 20% tax. And let them gather all the food of those good years that come and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. And that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine. This will be important next Sunday. Si Joseph yung nag-suggest na lahat ng 20% ay ibibigay kay Pharaoh to be stored by Pharaoh. You will remember this and you will question the character of Joseph next Sunday. Okay. So Joseph, syempre siya yung nag-suggest. Siguro sabi ni Pharaoh, ay iyo, kay puwantang araw ka na tao. Sige lugod, ika na. Yan. So si Joseph na po, yung naging tagapamahala. And Moses, takes great pain in describing kung gaano ka-powerful si Joseph. And it takes him more or less 8 verses to describe how powerful Joseph has been. Okay, so, ito na po, siya na po ang in command ng lahat. He will be in command during the abundance. He will be in command during the famine. And sabi ni Pharaoh, walang magaganap dito that your hand does not have anything to do with. Binigay ni Pharaoh ang kanyang ring at nilagay siya sa hand ni Joseph at dinamitan siya as if he was royalty. And here makikita natin na may pinanganak under Joseph dahil nag-asawa siya. Ang pangalan ay Asenath, anak siya ni Potiphera, priest of On. So ang dalawa niyang anak will be Manasseh and Ephraim. Remember, Manasseh and Ephraim are among the 12 tribes of Israel. At parte sila ng kumalas into the northern kingdom kasi ang naiwan lang sina Judah. So, Manasseh and Ephraim are born to Joseph. And then, makikita natin in verse 53 hanggang 57, ito po ay summary kung ano ang nangyari. Ang nangyari is, nangyari nga po yung abundance, nangyari nga po yung famine, at lahat ng apektado ng famine pumupunta sa Egypt for grain. So, next Sunday, we are expected, hindi na ako magkukuman, expectation lang. We are expected to have read chapter 42 hanggang chapter 50 ng Genesis. I hope that you will actually read these verses. Kasi po, malalaman ninyo kung anong sinasabi ko tungkol kay Joseph. And if you can figure it out, i-chat nyo agad ako kung ano yung problema kay Joseph and I will give you a special prize. Siguro pakwan. Or ears of corn na galing sa Egypt. So yeah, that's the challenge. If you can find out kung ano po yung something wrong sa character ni Joseph, you can chat me at any time and I will give you a reward. Okay, so for now, ang last lesson that we can learn from it is this. Amidst trials, binibigyan tayo ng Panginoon ng mga opportunities. We must discern when this come and we make the most out of it. Hindi po natin ipipilit ang opportunities. There will be a time for waiting. There will be a time for actually taking advantage of those opportunities. Makikita natin na all throughout si Joseph, makikita natin na hindi siya perfect. Malamang malungkot din siya. Malamang nagalit din siya. Hindi siya all smiles nung tinapon siya sa balon. Hindi siya all smiles nung tinapon siya doon sa prison or when he was enslaved. But he kept grabbing on to those opportunities na ipinapakita sa kanya ng Panginoon and it led him to prosper. So, I hope this was a blessing to you as it was to me. Maraming salamat po. Happy Pasko ng Pagkabuhay sa ating lahat.
Okay, bago tayo mag-break, doon muna tayo sa magkakaroon muna tayo ng meeting para po sa Agape Feast. Okay, so Mary Jenny, please.
Ay, good morning po. 2 Sundays na lang po bago tayo mag-Agape Feast for the month of May. So may request all the groups po to meet. So dito po yung grupo ko, grupo ni Norville, grupo ni Carl, tapos ni Jericho po sa likod. Para mapag-usapan lang po ng maayos yung food distribution natin.